Hey there, it's Crystal Diaz here and welcome to my channel. I am a vocal empowerment coach, and in case you are wondering what that is, essentially what I do is a mix of vocal coaching and life coaching put together. So I help you to use your voice in ways that make you feel empowered, whether that's in singing, in speaking and presenting, or in your everyday conversations. Now, I'm really excited to share this tutorial for the song Golden by Huntrix from the hit Netflix movie K-pop Demon Hunters. Now, if you know this song, then you will know right away what a challenging song this is to sing. The range is very wide, it's high energy with long phrases and very little room for mistakes. Now, I've had many requests to teach this song, but I've actually held off on creating this tutorial because I was waiting for the group to perform a live version, which they did just a few days ago on The Tonight Show with Jimmy Fallon. Now, in this live version, not only did they sound amazing, of course, but I love that they made really smart, singer-friendly changes to the way they sung the song. They performed it 2 semitones lower than the original, so down from G major to F major, and they adjusted the phrasing to break up some of those longer lines so that it's a lot more manageable in a live setting. And so really the big lesson here is that even original artists adapt their songs for live performances. So if you've been working on this song and you've been feeling a little discouraged because you're not able to sing it exactly the same way that it was recorded, don't worry. In this tutorial, I will teach you the version that the Huntrix singers sang at their live performance, and I'm going to show you ways to approach even the most challenging parts of this song so that you can sing it in a way that makes you feel empowered. All right, without further ado, let's go ahead and dive into the tutorial. All right, so let's start from the very beginning. Let's figure out where we are going to sing that first line. We're going to play the music first. Here we go. All right, do you hear this music, this melodic pattern? Da, 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 something like that. There are 8 of those. And on the eighth time you hear that, there's going to be a beat. And after that beat, that's going to be your cue to come in. Okay, so it's going to go da 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 8 times. And on the 8th time, it'll be you'll hear it in the music. Bum, 2, 3, 4, 1. I was a ghost, and that's when we come in after the 1. Okay, so let's try that. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 2, 3, 4, 1. I was a ghost, I was alone. Okay. All right, so now let's break down the words. The first line here is I was a ghost. So ghost, there's 2 notes there. There's a little bit of a glide, as well as the word alone. Okay, so it goes I was a ghost, I was alone. So that's in one phrase chunk. We take a breath here. Now the next line here is, obviously it's in Korean. I do not speak Korean, but I have a very good friend who is Korean and has taught me to say these words, so I'm going to do my very best. So let's have a listen to her saying it. Here we go.
어두워진 앞길 속에.
That was a little fast, so let's listen to that one a little bit slower.
어두워진 앞길 속에.
Okay, so let's try that together. 어두워진 앞길 속에. I'm doing my best. Apologies in advance if I just butchered that. But what's interesting here is that the O of the 어두워진 and the ap of the 앞길 속에 is not actually pronounced that way as far as I can hear it. So the singer has turned it into a stylistic sound, which is literally just huh. It's just huh, right? And the first time that I heard this song, I literally thought she was just using that as a stylistic tool, until I started looking at the lyrics and I realized, oh, actually, that's supposed to be part of the word. So we're using a little creative license here. So we're still going to say huh as we're following the singer. Even actually this note in itself can be a little bit tricky because of it's short and it's right on the note. The only thing I would say here is to make sure that you are utilizing that anchor, so you're not going ha. It's not that sound. It's not just coming from the throat. Ha, duojin, it's so hopefully you can hear that demonstration or hear the difference in that demonstration. So that one comes really from what I call my anchor. And this is a term that I use inside of my program, inside of Singers Connect, which is this idea that the energy is going down into your body. So you can practice that a few times. The other thing I'll say about this is that you want to create some what I call backspace. So I would go, so almost like I'm half yawning. Like I call this a mildly but pleasantly surprised gasp, right? So if you breathe that way, then you're less likely to go, and close off the throat. So you're really creating the conditions for this sound. And that's why it's tricky, because you only got one shot at it to sing it. You can't, In fact, it would be easier, honestly, if you went, duojin, kisuke. So you could do that, actually, if you wanted to. That is easier. That's not how the singer does it, though. So if you want to practice it the way that she does it, it really is one shot at it. This is a good opportunity to practice just creating that conditions very quickly, and just practice that a few times. Duojin. And here is another one of those breath points that are not really functional breaths, because we don't really need to take a breath after just singing one word. You could just keep singing it, but we're going to take a breath. I like to call this a bounce breath, and it's not a functional purpose. It is more of a stylistic purpose. So it's a breathe, a little bounce breath. Duojin, kisuge. So you can hear that there's a little bit of a bounce breath here. Let's try that together. By the way, this is actually quite low for me in my voice. This is not a song that I would personally sing, just because it just sits at the low ends and the high ends of my vocal range. I enjoy practicing it because of the opportunities that it provides me in terms of practicing those tail ends of my range. Generally speaking, when I'm performing songs, I don't like to sing a lot in the tail ends of my range, and that's just my own personal preference. I like to sing more in the what I like to call the sweet spot of the voice. I find that I'm just naturally more comfortable there and more expressive there, but that doesn't mean I don't practice those ends of my voice. So this is a good point in terms of understanding that there's some songs that you may never perform, but they're so worthwhile in terms of practicing it for the opportunities that it provides you for learning. So this is definitely a practice song for me, and I really enjoy practicing it. Okay, so that being said, this part is quite low, and I suspect for many singers you will also find that it's quite low, and that's okay. So the note here is 길속에. So you see, I have to come really close to the microphone and really lightly touch it. What I would caution against is to do this. 길속에, like really compress the voice down. We don't want to ever do that. So you want to try to create that space. That's what I call backspace, a bit of that spaciousness feeling. Again, it's similar to what I said earlier about that pleasantly but mildly surprised gasp. You're creating that backspace there. 길속에, and you try to slowly, calmly sing those notes. But of course, it's super fast. So if you are just going, 길속에, that's totally fine. I'm just touching it enough. If nothing is coming out, that's okay. Just know that that's probably, you're at that tail end of your range. So don't force it. Just let it be air, or just, 길속에, whisper it. Let's keep going to the next part. Given the throne, I didn't know. So similar, exactly the same actually to I was a ghost, I was alone. So that is one phrase chunk. Now here the word is how, and we are handling it the same way as we did earlier on those It's the same sound. Okay, so it's to believe. Again, with those bounce breaths, you can see the strokes on the lyrics here that I have, which you can download if you join my community. I'll have that available to you, and you can download it with all of these breath point marks here. Okay, how to believe. Here we jump up. Okay, so we can leave this low part of the voice and jump up here. So it jumps up quite a bit, but it's still within the territory of mainly chest voice. So it's still within your talking range. And the word I, we extend it a little bit. I, and we can have a little bit of that edginess in the voice. If you want to, as a stylistic choice. I was the queen that I meant to be. So the word queen has a bit of a drop down. I was the queen that I meant to be. And the same thing with the word meant. There's a little bit of a drop down there. The next line is actually another singer, right? So it's another character who's singing this line. And if you want to practice this as a solo piece, I would recommend dropping the word I. So it goes, I was the queen that I meant to be, lived both lives. And that's how it goes. So, but if I try to stick in the I, it'll be like this. I was the queen that I meant to be. I lived. And so you're going to throw off your beat. You're going to throw off your timing. And also, again, it's unnecessary. So why make it so hard for ourselves? It's hard enough as this song is, right? So we're going to drop off the I in this case. Again, we're practicing as if we're doing this as a solo piece. Lived both lives, try to play both sides. Okay, so here there's a bounce breath here. And I marked out these breath points based on what I heard in the recording and also what I heard in the live performance. And this is mainly, I would say, mapped out according to the live performance. And I would agree that you want to take a breath there. It's tempting to go, I was the queen that I meant to be, lived two lives, try to play both sides. It's easy to want to skip that. I would just take a little sneak breath, because anytime that you give yourself an opportunity to just quickly replenish your breath, I think you're going to make it a little bit easier for yourself in the long run. Because at any point in this song, if you feel like you're running out of breath, it's very hard to catch it back. So anytime that you have these opportunities to take a little sneak breath where it makes sense in the song to do so, I would just take that opportunity. So this line here, live two lives, try to play both sides, has a rhythmic change to it. And as you are singing, you probably feel like, oh, it feels like the beats are a bit different. So it's not that the beats are different, it's that where you are singing is what we would call singing on the up beat. And so this is a nice point of practice that I just want to highlight here. So let me clap the beats as I'm singing this part, so then it'll become very, very obvious what I mean by singing on the upbeat here. Given the throne, I didn't know how to believe I was the queen that I meant to be, lived two lives, try to play both sides. So can you see that as I was clapping, lived two lives, and my hand is going up, play both sides. And so that's what we mean by we're singing on the up beat. And so it just creates a different kind of punchiness to the song. And so that's why this feels rhythmically a little bit different. Now the rhythm and the rhythmic pattern changes again on that next line. And here it's more of what is called a syncopated beat. So it's in between the beats. So let me sing it for you once so you can get a sense of it. So it goes, given the throne, I didn't know how to believe I was the queen that I meant to be, lived two lives, try to play both sides, but I couldn't find my own place. So when I'm singing my words, you can hear that I'm not quite on any of these clap points. I'm not on the downbeat, nor am I really on the upbeat. And this is really something that you would practice really by feel, as opposed to really overthinking exactly where these notes are in the beat. Now the next part of the song is similar. We're going back to the upbeat. Called a problem child. So those are the upbeats. Called a problem child, 'cause I got too wild. So problem child, 'cause I got too wild. Those are on the upbeats again. Okay, and here, same thing. I would have a little breath point here after the word got. I'm following the singer who sang this version. I saw that she took a breath there, and I think it makes sense. Again, these are opportunities that you can give yourself to make sure that you're never bottoming out in how much breath that you have for this song. Okay, so let's try that again together. Called a problem child, 'cause I got too wild. So we're going to anchor point there. There's a little bit of a higher note here. Wild, but, and then we take a breath. Now that's how I'm getting paid. So that's also similar to, but I couldn't find my own place. Whereas the word place goes up, this time the word paid comes down. Now that's how I'm getting paid. All right, here is another Korean word. So let's go ahead and enlist my friend to teach us how to say it. Here we go.
끝없이.
So let's listen to it a little bit slower.
끝없이.
Okay. Good up she. Good up she. And so when we sing it, it is good up she on stage, good up. So that one note goes down, good up she, and then 2 notes on the same note, good up she on stage. All right, so we've now sung the first part all the way to just before the pre-chorus. So let's go ahead and sing that together with the singers. Here we go. 5, 7, 8, 2, 3, 4.
I was a ghost, I was alone. 두어진 길 속에 Given the throne, I didn't know how to believe I was the queen that I'm meant to be. I lived 2 lives, tried to pick both sides, but I couldn't find my own place. Caught a bad child, cause I got too wild, but now that's how I'm getting paid. Good that she on stage, I'm done hiding, now I'm shining like I'm born to be. We dreaming hard, we came so far, now I believe.
All right, now we are going into the pre-chorus. Let's break that down. Okay, so we've just sung good up she on stage. So the word stage, that note, we're going to stay on that same note. I'm for this start of the pre-chorus here. Okay, so here, this whole pre-chorus is kind of like an exercise in that it goes up and down. And in this particular key, it really crosses over and under what would be the first vocal bridge of the typical female vocal range, or second vocal bridge of the typical male vocal range. We are going to use this as an opportunity to practice bridging. If you are part of my program, I have a whole course, a whole section in my trainings about navigating the first bridge. So this is a really important part of voice training, of just understanding your voice, which is understanding where your bridges are, where those transition points are in the range, and then knowing how to navigate through them. So if that's something that you want to dive into, please consider joining me and supporting our community, supporting my work here on these tutorials by joining me inside of Singers Connect membership. All the details are in the description where you're watching this video. So this part goes, I'm done hiding. So hiding, that note here is a B flat. That is right in the middle of the first bridge of the typical female vocal range. The last thing you want to do is hiding, tense up and clench your mouth or clench your jaw to try to force your way into this high note. You want to create that space. And if what comes out is hiding, light, let it be light for now. Just make sure that you're not clenching up the throat here at this part of the voice. So we're going to go hiding. Again, practice it as an exercise first. Yeah. Yeah. I like to take that word just because it naturally encourages students to just open up without thinking too much about it. Yeah. So this is the note that we need. Yeah. Hiding. Okay, now the next note that we need here is the word shining. That's the next high one. So I'm just going to take the high notes and just get you there first, and then we'll string it all together at the end. So it goes hiding, shining. So those are the 2 high notes of this phrase chunk here. Once you get those parts comfortable, then we can string it all together. Hiding, shining. Now here, that is already past the first bridge of the typical female vocal range, and this is a D5. Okay, so we're moving into more predominantly head tone or head voice territory. And so you definitely want to be lightening up. And I think that in the recording and also in the live performance, the lead singer does do something like that here. You can totally do that. I think she's doing that more of a stylistic choice. But if that is what is available to you right now, just let that be light. Most importantly is you're creating that space. Hiding, shining. Practice that a few times. Now we're going to learn the line. I'm done hiding. Now it drops down quite low. Now I'm shining. And so this is why it's important to navigate through to those difficult spots in the voice first, because in this particular case, it leaves that part of the voice and goes quite low and then requires you to come back in. So that's why it is kind of like an exercise, right? It's going back and forth, back and forth. So let's try that again. I'm done hiding. now I'm shining. Keep that space there. Take a breath. Like I'm born to be. So born to be, the word born is a C5. Okay, so that is a tricky note to sing. Then it comes down on this very awkward spot of the voice, especially for typical female vocal range, is that A4. This is a tricky spot in the voice because that's in the beginning of the first bridge of the typical female vocal range. And so once, again, when we're talking about bridging, understanding how to navigate those bridges or those transition points in the voice, it is important to know where they are, just even theoretically. Even if you don't play the piano, all of my tutorials, you'll hear me talk about notes. Oh, this is in the first bridge. This is in your second bridge. Because I just feel like that you can't learn singing and not understand your bridges and understand how to navigate them, because they're such an important part of your instrument. And here's an example why. Because right now we're singing Born to Be, and we have to come back down here. That's a high note. That's a C5, sorry. Born to Be, and then we're entering to that tricky A, which is the beginning of the first bridge of the typical female vocal range. But what will often happen is we'll either, especially if we aren't practicing bridge work, we aren't practicing navigating our bridges, then what might happen is we might feel like we have to dump the weight down into chest. Here's what I mean. Born to be, and then we overcrank the chest voice here. Oftentimes what I find when I'm working with students is students know that that's an unstable part. And so they try to avoid it. Either they avoid it by throwing in more chest voice or chest tone to counteract the feeling of instability, or they just leave everything light and then they'll go, Born to Be, and then completely lose connection with their chest tone altogether. And of course, neither of those are good scenarios to be in. And so here's what I would recommend. I would recommend Born to Be and just lightening up the to be. So definitely not doing Born to Be, not over cranking down to the chest voice, because then the next line, if you do that, the next line will be much harder to sing because you've really thrown yourself off balance. Born to be, we dreaming hard, we came so far. You see, now I've put myself into a situation where it's very easy for me to start yelling and pushing the vocals. So we don't want to do that. I would rather you go born, put your anchor point on the word born. So you put your energy there. Born to be, and then lighten up on the way down. So it's almost like the to be of the word of that phrase chunk is just trailing off of the energy that you've generated for the word born. Let's keep going. Born to be, we dream. So it comes down a bit. We dreaming hard, and it goes back to the same pattern. So let's look at these lines, these words again for those high parts, the high notes, and then practice them in isolation. So the first word is hard. Try to soften the letter R of the word hard just so that you can create a little bit more, keep more spaciousness in the instrument. So we're going to go hard, hard, not hard. We don't want to go like that, okay? So hard. The next high part is far. Okay, so that's a D5 in case you're wondering. Far. Now the last word here that I want you to practice in isolation is believe. Believe. So this is a little tricky as well because the B of the believe is below the first bridge and leave of believe is at the end of the first bridge. Okay, so that's why this part can feel a little tricky to sing if you've been practicing it and you're wondering, okay, why is that hard to catch? It's not that it's too high. It's because of where it is in relation to your bridge. So again, very important information to know if you're somebody who really wants to understand your voice as an instrument and really understand how to navigate it. If you are a new singer, I would say, try doing it this way. Believe and linking it. So ye, so take an E vowel. Ye. Practice. I'm literally going over this section of the voice where these notes are right now. Yee, yee. Do that a few times just to find a pathway, find the feeling of that sound. Yee, and then when you kind of get a feel for it, then you can go yee. That's the notes of believe, right? Yee, yee. Now you can sing believe. believe. Okay, that's how you would slowly map the exercise to the feeling of the song, and then we're really utilizing the exercises as a tool to help navigate these notes in the tricky spots of our voices. Let's put it all together and learn the entire melody. I'm done hiding now. So one little note here I want to mention is hiding now. I would link the letter N by singing into, vocalizing into that letter N here. It's a way to help you stay in alignment with your sound as opposed to chopping it up. So that's a little exercise tool that you can use to bridge that gap. So we don't want to go, I'm done hiding, now I'm shining. So that creates more of a break in between those two parts of this phrase. I'm done hiding, now I'm shining. Oh, take a breath here, sorry. Shining like I'm born to be. Take a breath here. We dreaming hard, we came so far, now I, see how I'm linking that? Now I believe. And so now you can hear that there's that flowy aspect of this pre-chorus here, which sets ourselves up really nicely to that super punchy part of the chorus, which is coming up next. All right, so now that we've sung this, we've broken down this pre-chorus, let's go ahead and sing it with the singers. Here we go.
Too wild, but now that's how I'm getting paid. Without you on stage, I'm done hiding, now I'm shining like I'm born to be. We dreaming hard, we came so far, now I believe. We're going up, it's our moment. You gotta get it, we're going.
All right, we're getting there. Okay. One note that I don't think I mentioned just now, that in the recorded version, they don't breathe, or it doesn't sound like they're breathing after the word shining, but in the live version, you will see all of them take a breath. If you are practicing this as a solo version and you're singing it live, or even if you are singing it with a group, I would take a breath here. There is no need to push yourself to not breathe just because that's what you heard in the recording. If the singers themselves are taking this opportunity in their live performances to break things down and to make it a little bit easier on them to sing, then all the more so you should do that too. Okay, so breathe after the word shining. So we've just sung, we dreaming hard, we came so far, now I believe where. So it jumps down to the A, which again, that tricky A, right? A4, which is right in the beginning of the first bridge of the typical female vocal range. We're going up, and then we go straight back up to a D. So what I would do here, believe we're go. I definitely want to energize that note, but I don't want to put all of my effort there. So we're still anchoring into this note. We're getting ready, but we're not going to be loud. Okay, so don't put all of your effort, we're going up, because you have to save it for the up, up, up. Okay, and then and later on as well. So we're going to go, where, so you can hear how I am definitely anchored in. You can hear by the way I pronounce that letter W, or way I vocalize that, where, so that helps to set you up for that energetic response in your singing. We're going up, up, up. So I would definitely anchor into the win of go win. Go win up. So that's what I would call an anchor point. Again, anchor points is a term that I've developed that I use with all of my students. I talk about it inside of my programs. If you've watched my videos, you've definitely heard me talk about it before. So here's where I would put that emphasis, or that energetic emphasis into this line here on the we're and the win of going. We're going up, 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 and then the up, up, up. I'm just holding it steady by that point. So I'm not gonna up, up, up. I'm not gonna hammer it as I'm singing it, because it's quite high in the range already, and it's all the same note. So you want to keep that steady. So that's why you put the anchor points before that, so that by that time you have enough energy and air to sustain that note 3 times. We're going up, 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 and I'm actually kind of singing up, pup, pup. So I'm using the letter P, the P's here, as a way to stay on the pitch, but also to kind of feel my way in that sound. So what I mean by that is, if I'm going, we're going up, 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 and I break it up there, it's way harder to stay strong on that repeated note because it's all the same note. So if you use the letter P, it's like up, up, up. So that helps me to save energy. I would say it helps me to use my energy more effectively. So I'm not leaking air. I'm not going up, 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 and then leaking air here. I'm really staying grounded and energized without forcing anything from my throat. So let's try that together. We're going up, 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 it's our moment. So the hour, I would really break that up into a little bit of a glide to help you, again, generate some energy to come back up to the word moment. So we're leaving that part of the voice and coming, and then sort of slingshotting ourselves back up to this challenging spot of the voice. So we're going up, 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 it's our moment. It's our moment. We really have to sing it that way. Otherwise, we don't have to sing it that way. I just find it's easier to sing it that way as opposed to going up, 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 it's our moment. Instead of doing it that way and trying to just hit the notes head on, take a breath. Now here, let's practice, because it's quite fast, the next line. So let's practice just speaking it so we get the rhythmic feeling of it. So it goes, you know, together we're glowing. You know, together we're glowing. I would say glowing, no G, okay? You know, together we're glowing. So then if we can just wrap our mouths around these words in this style, in this rhythmic style here, in this rhythmic pattern, then it becomes almost like a muscle memory. You know, together we're glowing. Gonna be golden. Okay, so we're just building some muscle memory around how we are articulating these two lines. And so now let's put the melody to it. You know, together we're glowing. So same idea with the word glowing. Glowing. I would just lighten up on the win of glowing, not glowing. Try not to dump weight there. You know, together we're glowing. So take a breath. Gonna be golden. Same idea. And here, there's lots of G's. And I like G's because they are a great way to trigger the anchor response. That's what I call it anyway. It helps us to stay grounded off of, so the energy is in our body, not in our throat. So it's gonna be golden. Gonna be. So I'm really activating that anchor by utilizing this G in this way. Gonna be. So gonna be golden. All right, so let's try those two lines together. You know, together we're glowing. Gonna be golden. Okay, so that's those parts. If you can just practice this over and over again, it'll start to become muscle memory, and then you don't have to think about it, and then that part can be a little break for you before you have to go back to the up, and then it goes higher. Okay, so now let's go to this next line here. So we've just sung gonna be golden. Ho. So down, up, down. Ho, up, and then we go straight back up to those notes there, which is the D5. Okay, so same note as going up, up, same note as the first time we sang up, up. But the third up goes much higher. And here, this third up goes into the second bridge of the typical female vocal range. Okay, so if you have not been practicing getting to your second bridge, I would work through this very slowly by gradually opening up to that second bridge through different exercises. There are exercises in my program that are specifically designed for that. If you are working with a coach, make sure that you seek guidance, because we never want to force our voices into areas that it's not ready to go into. It's kind of like going to the gym and working on weights that are just too heavy for you, right? It's not that you can't do it ever. It's just that's not where your body is at right now. So you want to acclimatize yourself slowly. Here's just a quick way to do that. Yeah. Wow. Very gently and get some flexibility. Wow. Into this area of the voice that, we won't ever practice unless we're learning how to sing. There's no reason, there's no opportunity for us to practice getting into these second bridge notes of our voices just in conversation. We wouldn't do that, right? Who speaks like this? Nobody does, right? Normally anyway. So exercises are really the only way that we can, the best way to open up these spaces. And so let's just quickly do some. We're going to go wee, 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 wee. Just get a little bit of that stretchiness happening in the voice. Make sure you're anchored in. And now, so let's move into where this note is. Oh, up, up, up with our voices. So that's the second bridge note. That's the highest note here. This is an F5, in case you're wondering. So up with our, make sure you open your mouth out for the word hour, just to, again, create more space as you're coming off of these high notes here. Up with our voices. And then we take a breath. Then now we have another Korean phrase that we have to learn. So let's get my friend to help us here. Here we go.
영원히 깨질 수 없는.
Okay, let's do a slower version.
영원히 깨질 수 없는.
영원히 깨질 수 없는. Now, how do we sing it? It's much faster than that, so we're just going to do our best to try to make sure that we're pronouncing it somewhat accurately. Okay, so it's the same note as gonna be golden. Okay, same note as those. 영원히 깨질 수 없는. So I had to do this a few times. Okay, it's not like this is the first time I've practiced this song. Okay, so if you're like, I don't know how to say it, slowly, you have this video now. Go back and listen to break it down, speak through it. 영원히 깨질 수 없는. 영원히 깨질 수 없는. Do that a few times to really get the muscle memory of that. Then we take a breath. Same thing. Gonna be golden. So here, ho, it's three notes here. Ho, I'm, and it comes down on the word I'm done hiding, now I'm shining. Same as the pre-chorus, but in the pre-chorus we sang like I'm born to be. This time here in the chorus, the like I'm born to be are different notes. So this time it's like I'm born to be. So let's practice that bit by bit. This high note here is at the tail end of the second bridge. Okay, so that's a G5 in case you're wondering. So let's work our voices slowly to that area of the voice first. Let's take a whoa sound. Whoa, whoa. This is the note that we need, okay? This is the note. Whoa. So you see how I'm connecting my voice and I'm moving slowly through the bridges, but I'm staying in alignment. So I'm keeping one kind of continuous tone and I'm not pushing anything on my throat. So I'm staying very anchored in. Again, there are tools and techniques to learn how to do this gradually, and I encourage you to work with a coach, or if you want, you can join my program where I teach you incrementally how to do this. But I'm just showing it to you just so you have a bit of a reference as to how I might work with a student to practice this part of the song here. So we know we need this note here. Whoa, whoa, so we do it lightly first. Then when we get comfortable, we can anchor in using the letter B of the born and the letter B of the word be to really anchor our energy into it. Okay, so B has two notes. Okay, so practice that a few times. It's quite fun to sing it that way. And then now we're going to put it all together, okay? Oh, I'm done hiding, now I'm shining like I'm born to be. Now this next part here, oh, hour. So the hour has two notes. Oh, hour time. Okay, then it comes back up. So before it was oh, the O before. Now this O is a little bit different. Oh, our time, no fears, no lies. Then the pattern is similar to hiding and shining. And then here we take a breath. Now in the recording, she does not take a breath after shining, and she also doesn't take a breath after lies. But again, that's just the recorded version. In the live version, you can see all of them taking a synchronized breath after shining and after lies. And I highly recommend that you do it that way. Now, there is a slight change in phrasing that needs to happen in order for us to take a breath after the word lies. And so in the lyrics, that's why I have a little a little symbol here just to make note of that. So, oh, our time, no fears, no lies. Takes a breath. Because we take a breath, now we've taken a half beat, right? We've taken a bit of that, the time. So we have to catch up the time on the phrasing of the next line. That's who. So we have to sing it fast now. So it goes, oh, our time, no fears, no lies. That's who we're born to be. So that's why we have to change the phrasing here in order to accommodate taking that breath point. All right, now we've done the first chorus. Let's go ahead and sing it with Huntrix.
That's how I'm getting paid. Put that tree on stage. I'm done hiding now. I'm shining like I'm born to be. We dreaming hard. We came so far now. I believe we're going up. It's our moment. You know together we're going. Gonna be golden. Up with our voices. You only get just so on it. Gonna be golden. I'm done hiding now. I'm shining like I'm born to be. Our time, no fears, no lies. That's who we're born to be.
All right, well done. So again, reminder that this recording, of course, they are singing it in one go without the breath, but I'm encouraging you to sing it with the breath points, which is really following the live version that they did on Jimmy Fallon. Okay, so let's go ahead and break down the next part of the song, which would be the bridge of the song. Now, the music changes here and the dynamics come down and there's no drums. And so it can be very easy to lose our rhythm when we're singing this part here. So what I've done is I've underlined some words that as a guide for you, and you will hear that in the music there is there's some chords that's being played, and when you hear the chords, that's where you would aim to sing the words that are being underlined. Okay, so I hope that was clear. So let's go ahead and listen to this section so that you can see where these underlined words come in.
Waited so long to break these walls down, to wake up and feel like me. Put these
So you can hear that there are piano chords there, and it's not exact, but it's approximate. So again, this is just a guide for you. When you are singing in the karaoke version, you will hear the same chords, and so then you can know this, at least you will have a better sense of whether or not you're keeping in pace with the rhythm of this section here. Okay, so let's talk about when we come in. In the recorded version, it's a little bit harder to come in because there's a rhythmic change. And so there is a slap though. So this is the slap in the music. Let me show it to you. So that part. So that's the only thing I want you to pay attention to right now. When you hear that slap, boom. Waited so long, because that's when you come in. Okay, so I don't know what the technical term is. I'm just calling it a slap. Now, what's important to note is that when you're singing with the singers here on this track, they come in at a different time than when you are singing with the karaoke version. So the karaoke version that's available online is actually easier to follow. They give you more time to get into this bridge. And so just so that you have a reference, I want you to see that it's a little bit different in the karaoke version. So I'm going to play the karaoke version for you, but all I want you to do is look for that slap. Okay, that bomb. Waited so long, because that's when you know you're going to come in. That's your cue to come in for this bridge here. Okay, so here's the karaoke version in the key that we are practicing right now. I'm going to have you go from the chorus. If you want to, you can sing along just so you can feel it out a little bit. And then I'll show you where the equivalent slap is. So then you know how to come in for this bridge if you are working on the karaoke version. We're going up, 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 it's our moment. long to break these walls down. Okay, so you have more time to wait in the karaoke version than you do in the recorded version. So if you are following the recorded version and you notice that it's like the bridge comes in a little faster, it's because of this reason. They've actually made the karaoke version easier to follow. Okay, I hope that was clear. Now let's go ahead and learn the notes of this part here. So I'll sing it slowly so that you can get a sense of the melody line here. Waited so long to break these walls down, to wake up and feel like me. All the same note there, feel like me. Put these patterns all in the past now, and finally live like the girl they all see, like the girl they all see. Okay, that's the bridge part here, so it's pretty simple to follow. Now here is the lowest part of this song, and of course as we've pitched it down, we're singing it in the key two semitones lower than the original recording. And so here's how I would approach it. So the notes here is the same notes as we were working on earlier in the chorus. It's just an octave lower. So it goes. Now these low notes are out of my range, but if I were to sing it, if I have to sing it these notes, I will come really, really close to the mic and just whisper sing it, like, no more hiding, now I'm shining. I can't even hit that. Now I'm shining. It's all just air that's coming out of me right now. Okay, but so if this is happening for you, know that you're not alone. This is very low. This is low for alto singers, right? And so I'm not an alto singer. So what I would recommend, if you want to sing this song and you want to not sing those notes, you could change the notes themselves to make it a little bit more manageable. So instead of going, no more hiding, you could go, no more hiding. So you're not going all the way down to hit that D3. So you're staying on the same note as the word more. No more hiding, which is the F. It's an F3. It's still low, but at least it avoids that extreme low end. And then the same thing for the next line. You could go, no more hiding, I'll be shining. So now we're singing no more, which is an F, and then I'll be, which is an E. So singing two notes the same is a little easier than trying to dip down and then come up and then dip down and come up at those extreme ends of the voices. So that's another option for you. And if all else fails, you're like, there's nothing coming out, just let it be whispery, and that's okay, because it's just this tiny part of the song. Again, we're using this song as an opportunity to practice approaching these tail ends of our range. And if your voice does not go down there, don't feel defeated. It's kind of like wearing different shoe sizes, right? If the shoe doesn't fit, that's not your fault. So don't feel like you have to be able to sing all of these notes in order to be a good singer. You absolutely do not. But again, we're looking at this song as an opportunity to just practice approaching these parts of the voice and thinking, okay, well, how could I open up more space on those at those tail ends, at those bottom ends of my range? So we've just sung no more hiding, or no more hiding, I'll be shining like I'm born to be. So this is the same melody as the super high one that we were working on in the chorus. Is just an octave lower. Like I'm born to be. So this note here it can be a little bit tricky to catch. Just to reorient yourself, we're going one note up. Okay, so we're slowly, incrementally moving away, moving out of that low, extreme low end of the voice, going back into the high places that we've just come from earlier. Like I'm born to be, so it goes up. Okay, that note goes up. Because we are hunters. Now we're back in that first bridge area of the voice now. 'Cause we are hunters, voices strong. So same thing, you can practice that. Hunters strong. And do that a few times just to get comfortable as to how you would create space for those notes there. And then we take a breath. And I know I believe. We stay in that part of the voice. Strong, and I know I believe. And then we jump up here. This is all in one breath. We're going up, up, up. up, it's our moment. And then we come back into the same rhythm as what we have been working on before predominantly. So let's just go through that one more time here. Like I'm born to be, 'cause we are hunters, voices strong, and I know I believe we're going up, 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 it's our moment. Unit together we're glowing, gonna be golden, oh. Okay, so if you want to, you can take a breath after believe. I think in the live version they didn't, and that does rev up your energy a little bit more. So if you choose not to, then make sure you take a deep breath after voices strong. But you could also 'cause we are hunters, voices strong, and I know I believe we're going. You can take a breath there too. That's okay as well. So you can decide which one works better for your voice. So it goes, we're going up, 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 it's our moment. And now here is the same pattern as what we've worked on before. Unit together we're glowing, gonna be golden. So watch the voice, watch the feeling of the voice as it's coming down. Make sure that you don't grip on the way down on the words glowing and golden. And then we come back, gonna be golden, oh, up, up, up with our voices. Same thing. And I think we work, the same word here. You want to catch us so often. Same thing as before. Gonna be golden, which you know already. Next part here. So the italicized part here is just a note for yourself that if you're watching the Jimmy Fallon version, they don't sing it. They kind of stop dramatically and then they jump into, you know, we're gonna be golden. We're gonna be. They go into that part here. But of course, you're not going to sing the Jimmy Fallon version. You're probably going to be practicing the version where they're singing or the karaoke version. Okay, so then in that case, we just repeat, oh, I'm done hiding, now I'm shining, which you already know. Oh, our time, no fears, no lies, that's who we're born to be. And then here goes, you know we're gonna be golden, we're gonna be. So after you've sung, born to be, after that bit there's not a lot of time. You have to pretty much come straight in to sing, you know we're gonna be golden, we're gonna be. So I would practice these words first. So actually, let's just do that. Let's practice the articulation of this first. You're gonna go, you know we're gonna be golden, we're gonna be. Okay, so gonna be golden, we're gonna be. So you practice that a few times, and the next line is born to be glowing. Okay, then we have a Korean, one more Korean phrase here to learn. Let's go ahead and enlist the help of my friend again. Let's have a listen.
밝게 빛나는 우린.
Okay, a little bit slower.
밝게 빛나는 우린.
Okay. 밝게 빛나는 우린. So now let's put it into the rhythm of the song. Born to be glowing, 밝게 빛나는 우린. Okay. As close as I can get it. Okay. So it goes born to be glowing, 밝게 빛나는 우린. We'll practice that a few times. So, and then the last bit here, let's just work on the last part here. There's not a lot of time to pause and reflect on your singing. You just have to keep going. You know that it's our time, no fears, no lies. And then take a breath here. That's who we're born to be. The last time that you're going to sing that super high note here. And then we're done with this song. Oh, okay, we've done it. We've sung the whole thing. Yay! Let's go ahead and sing it with the music. Let's go from, we're going to go from the bridge all the way down to the end. All right, have fun with it.
Waited so long to break these walls down, to wake up and feel like me. Put these patterns all in the past now, and finally live like the girl they all see. No more hiding, I'll be shining like I'm born to be. 'Cause we are hunters, voices strong, and
enjoyed this one, and I hope you learned a few things and tips and tools today that you found helpful and that you'll be able to continue working on and practicing and applying it to songs of your choice as well. All right, if you enjoyed this tutorial and you want to dive deeper, you want to interact with me and my mentor coaches and learn from us directly, I hope you will consider joining me inside of my membership. It's the Singers Connect membership. You can check out all the details by going to theonlinevocalacademy.com. And finally, be sure to check out the other tutorials that I have in this channel, as well as my Resonate podcast series, where I invite guests and I also share behind the scenes tools and techniques that you can use to apply to your speaking voice in your everyday conversation as well, so that you can use your voice truly to show up as your most empowered self, not just in singing, but in your everyday life as well. So I hope you will check that out. Until next time.